welcome to McDonald's Crafting. And after I made this sticker video, and if you haven't seen that one, check it out, using your own drawings, I got a lot of questions saying, well, I can't draw, what do we do if I can't draw? Well, I think everybody can draw, because I certainly don't have any natural talent with drawing. But what I'm going to do today is going to show you a technique that I use to draw these flowers. And these flowers are really simple to draw, and this technique will also set you up to be able to draw other flowers. For instance, these sorts of flowers that are in my sketchbook, these sorts of flowers, daffodil, dahlias, and this is just my sketchbook, and I like to sit and sketch at night just while I'm watching the television, and you can see how my flowers have progressed. And it is just literally from being a simple technique that I use, that I learned, and anybody can do it, because believe me, I am not a natural drawer. Let me show you how to do these. And I am going to have this as my reference, because that way I can easily look at this and think that's what I want to do. And that's one of the biggest problems I've found with drawing. I always thought, oh, I have to draw out of my head. But the most important thing I've learned is always have something to reference, so you can see what sort of shapes, which way it's going, and it just makes life so much easier. And there's millions of images on Google and places like that that you can use as a reference. So I'm going to show you how I do it. The great thing is you're not going to need many tools for this either. So what I'm using is, I'm just using a mixed media pad here, and I find that works really well. But I have used lots of different types of paper. I've got a pencil, which is an 8B, and you can use anything, but I just like the 8B pencil. I think it works well for me. An eraser, some pens for outlining, and some coloured pens. And all these are fairly cheap. I will list everything that I've used today, or that I used today, in the description below, so it's easy for you to get hold of. And I will break this down into easy steps. And honestly, if you just spend 10 minutes trying this technique, then you won't have a problem. Now, one of the things that I will do is I will be making much darker lines with my pencil than I would normally. Normally I would make lines like that sort of darkness, but that doesn't show up very well on camera. So I'll be making a lot darker lines, but they'll still rub out and they'll look just as good. So that's fine. So I'm going to do a Black-Eyed Susan and a poppy. It's all about really circles and having guidelines. Now, the first one I'm going to draw is this one, and I've got one that's facing towards me, and I've got one that's kind of facing up. So that's easy to do. All I need to do is think about where I want these. So the first one is the center of the actual flower, and then the second circle, these are guide circles I'm going to put around, and that is where my petals are going to finish. So I know that's going to be there. And then I'll put my stem in a second, but I know I want my stems to finish about there, because then that will allow me to fit this poppy one in here. So I've got that one. Now, when I want to do one that's not facing directly at me, all I do is I do an oval center, and then I do another oval round here, but between this point and this point here, I actually have it so that there is smaller than that there, okay? And that oval, and this is why it's good to have an eraser. We call them rubbers in the UK, but I know that has a different connotation. Because if you think, actually, I want that to be slightly more off-centre than that, then you can keep rubbing it out. And I rub out all the time, or I erase stuff all the time. So don't ever feel that you shouldn't be erasing stuff, because erasing stuff is part of the journey. So now I've got that, all I need to know is I want my petals in. And I know that the petals are like club shaped at the end. All I need to do is put my petals in here and follow that sort of shape. Now, I'm not worried about any details or anything like that at the moment here, because I can put those in when I come to do the pen bit. So there's my one that's facing me. And the same for this. I never go beyond really my outside line. So again, I'll put my few petals in here like that. See how rough it is? It doesn't need to be anything else other than a rough shape. So I now know I've got my petals in there. And I'm never worried about how many petals are on each one either. You know, I don't have time for that big malarkey. I'm just going to put my stem in. Now my stem's coming there for that one, and it's hitting there, so that's fine. And this one, I want the stem to come about here, there, in the centre of that. So I'll just draw my stem in there. And then leaves are really easily done. So you just have to I do little lines where I think I want the leaf, like that, and the direction that I want them to go in. And then I attach the leaf onto that, just drawing a rough leaf shape. See, that one's even right wiggly. And it doesn't matter at this stage. Okay, then I'll put a little centre in there, like so, and then that one is ready. So all I now need to do is my outline. And what I'll use for that is, and again I will link these in the description below, they're not expensive at all, and they come in a little set. I'm going to use quite a thick outline for this first one. So the thicker outline in this, the 05, which is that one. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where I want to put my lines. Now, this is where you can put a little bit more detail in. Don't just draw straight lines straight across and down, because you want them to be a little bit realistic. And let's be honest, in nature, things are never perfect. So put a bit of wiggle into them. And like I cut bits out of them. I go across here, I think, right, I'll do that. And you don't need to follow your line exactly if you think, actually, you could have had a better space than that. So I'm quite happy with that. And now I am going to draw in the little centre bit, but again, you don't need to, because we're going to fill that in a second. So that's my little flower outline done, and here I'm just popping in my stem. I know that hits that bottom petal, and there we go. And move your paper around as well if you feel that helps. So here's my next petal, sorry. Again, I'm just doing it a little bit of a wiggly squiggly line. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to go round there now with this. I'm going to pop my stem in. And that hits there like that. So that's those two done at the moment at this stage. Now I'm just going to draw my little lines in that had I made my leaf. Now I'm not too happy with this leaf shape. So you could either redraw it, or you can just change it as you're doing it. And that's what I tend to do. I used to just redraw it because I felt it gives me a better look. But actually, the more I've done these, the better I seem to get at them now. And these are sketches, do you know what I mean? They're not exact representations, but what they are is really pleasant and easy to draw. So there we go. That's my flower done on there. Now what I need to do is I need to erase those lines because I don't need them there anymore. So I'm just going to knock them out, and you'll see it actually kind of comes to life a little bit more. There we go. And normally, as I said, it would be a lighter pencil line that I put on there, but I want to make it nice and dark for you. So what I want to do now is put in a bit of detail. So I'm going to go up to the 3, and the centre of the Black Eyed Susans are like a little bit, I would say, fluffy. Okay, I have no idea what they're properly called. And that's easy to do too. All I do is take my 0.3 here, and I just draw short little lines going around like this. And I don't do them all in the same direction. I mix it up a little bit. And this is why you don't actually need that centre circle in there, but I put it in there because it can help to start with. And so that's one layer. And It does look better if they are all mixed and matched, but I just tend to have them going in the kind of the same way around, like this way round as I'm doing it, and leaving some white in there as well. Now this is going to be a longer video than normal because I want to show you all the steps that I do to get these how I want them. So feel free just to forward fast this or cut through to the next bit. I've put chapters in here so that you can move on to the next chapter. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I've got lots of great projects coming up. I've planned out about 15, 20 projects. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you and allow me to keep making these videos and investing in my videos, then please check out the link. It's in the description below. I really do appreciate it. So now that's quite fluffy in there, but it's not quite how I want it. So what I'll do is I will just go through and put some random dots in as well, so it looks a little better. Okay, and we'll do the same for this one. And all you do is you follow your line that you've put there, even if it's just your pencil line and you've not put a hard line in. And it is actually quite therapeutic. It's almost meditative. It's quite therapeutic, and I need that at the moment as well. So there we go, so that one's done. Let's just put a few random dots in it. You can continue to do this next stage with a 0-3, but actually I like to do it with a 0-1, which is a finer point. And this is where you're going to put your detail in. Now this is quite important. What you need to do is, you need to look at it and think, which way is this petal going? Well, this petal is going that way. Look, it's growing out that way. So you want your lines and your details to follow that like that. And the centre one that I put in, I always think determines the look of where it's going to go. And I do quite a lot of these because I quite like this sort of detail in my flowers, but you don't have to put them in at all. So I want this one to kind of come round and down, so I've drawn that to go round and down, and I just flick out. This leaf is going, for me, is going that way, so, and sometimes I'll do a broken line. And this one I'm going to have coming up kind of like this, because I just think that leaf looks like it's not doing what all the other leaves are doing. It's a unique leaf. It's a rebel. And this one is going to come that way because I want it to look like it's curving in. So I'll move my paper around. I'll put my line in there. I'll put my thinner lines in. And there we go, that's that flower. And I'll do the same again for this one. So this leaf where I've got that little lump there, and that was just an accident, looks like it's doing that. So I'm going to pop my lines in like so. And can you see how by doing all these jagged edges, or not jagged, wiggly woggly edges around when you're doing the leaf, it actually gives it a more of a realistic look. That one's going straight up. This one's coming more to this side, so it's going to come over like that. And this isn't unique to me. Lots of artists do this and use this method. You know, and they all use references and things as well, because it's really hard to invent something straight out of your head. There we go, so I'm quite pleased with those. Now, with the leaves, that's slightly different. So what I just do with the leaves is I think which way I want them to look, and I just pop in some lines off that centre. And that's why I like to have the centre in there before I start personally. It gives me that guide, because I need guides. I cannot draw unless I've got guides or a reference. So that's that one done. Now what you can do is you can put a few lines in your stem if you want to. I don't always. Just get the lines broken up following the shape and the direction that the stem's going. So that's that one done. So the poppy is a little bit different, because that's a little bit, this is quite a great one for beginners, but the poppy has got more than those rows, and it's got this like flattish one here. So all I do for this one is I think about the shape of this bottom bit here, and that's like, really, I would say, it's like an upside down stretched out C, or a little bell, I suppose. So there's that there. The other one I want to have around about here, and it's just got a little oval going there. And this one I'm going to have here, and that's just got a little oval there. So I will still put my guidelines in here. So that's the first guideline, and then I'm just going to pop another one in like that. And then I know that I want my flowers or my petals to finish off around about here. So I'll just put a little line in there and then just get rid of these guidelines so they don't confuse me. And believe me, it doesn't take a lot to confuse me. So that's my guide for that particular flower. Now with these ones, because you're seeing the full flower, and I've got that one crossing over the stem, which gives it a little bit more of a 3-dimension. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an oval up that way, and then an oval up that way. And that's too big. I think that's far too big. So again, rub it out. Start again. Rub that out. Nothing wrong with rubbing out, or erasing, sorry, I should say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a smaller one there, and then actually a smaller one, if I didn't hit the edge of the pad as I was doing it, there. So I'm quite happy with that. And this one is more face on, so I'm just going to go one there and one there. So I'm quite happy with that. And actually I think I would like this one a little bit wider, so I'm just going to put in a third circle there, knock out that middle one because I don't need it. And then probably make that one a little larger as well. And this is the great thing about doing it in pencil to start with. You can make these little changes. I'm happy with that. First one I'm going to start with, I don't want that petal to go much below this guideline here. So what I'm going to do is draw to this first guideline and pop in. I'm going to carry on from my bell and just pop in. And poppies are quite blousy as well, aren't they? They've got quite large, nicely shaped, wiggly leaf or petals. So I'm quite happy with that. And then this next one, I'm going to go round again, touching onto that one. I'm going to put a little one there. I might not keep it there, but we'll see. And then I'm going to have my stem from that one. I'm putting that in now. And I'm having that come in all the way to there. Now, actually, that's too thick. So I will narrow that down. And I don't want it to end there. I want it to end about there. And that hasn't crossed over enough for me to enjoy and that stem to give it that 3-dimensional look. So I'm just going to rub out a bit of there. And I'm just going to pop that around there like that. So that crosses over with that. And this one, I think, is in completely the wrong place. So again, I'm just going to rub that out. And this is where you can make your decision on your way everything's going to look. And I'm going to put that there. And then have that one there. Coming out like that. That's too many lines. I'll confuse myself. I'm just going to knock those lines out. And I have a tremor, so sometimes I find it quite hard to draw lines, but I can't let that stop me. So there we go. So that one's already kind of done. This one, I'm just going to go in and put in my petals where I think they are, up to my line. I think it needs a bit one there. Do I need another one there? Actually, I am going to put one there because if not, I think it's going to look... But that's behind the others. And now I'm just going to pop in my other larger ones. And that's going to go right the way into there. All the way into there. There we go. So that's quite a blousy one. And the same for this one. Always go to your ends, your outer circle. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. There we go, and I'm quite happy with that. So my stems now, I'm going to have coming down here and round here. So to there. I'm drawing this in, but obviously I won't see that once it's rubbed out. So to there. And this one is going to have a bit of a wiggly stem. And the flowers of poppies are quite easy. Again, I just start off with my little lines where I want them. And then I just draw this sort of shape, like a oval really, a squashed oval into there, slightly different sizes. I look at it and I think, is that enough? And actually I would like another one there, but I'm going to have quite a bit of a larger one that's slightly different shape. And I'm going to have another one there, which is another one that's slightly different shape. And now I'm happy with that. Again, I'm going to use a 0.5 and I'm just going to outline those in the same way as I did before, but I'm going to start off with my little bell bit here, and then I'm going to come out of that and do my wiggly woggly. So I haven't really followed that line, but I'm not going outside of my other lines. So there's that one. I'm not going to put the stem in yet until I've done this one. So I'm going to just go round here. And again, I have no idea how many leaves poppies have, or petals poppies have. I just want it to give that impression of being a poppy. And I do cut bits out like there sometimes and make them quite jaggedy, because I find that that helps a great deal. And now I can put this stem in because I've done all those outlines. I know I can go to here. Thin that stem off a little bit. I don't want it quite as thick as that one. And now I'm going to pop my leaves in, and I'm going to do these leaves like that. I'm sharpening them up a little bit as I've done those leaves. So let's do this final one. And honestly, 10 minutes a day practicing this, wiggly wogglies on any scrap bit of paper, you are going to be so pleased with what you can do. And then you can use any of these pictures in your artwork, or make stickers with them, or draw it on cards, or scrapbooking, anywhere that you want. And you will be so pleased with what you've got. Now, I'm not happy with that great big gap there, so I'm just going to draw in a little separate petal that I hadn't planned for. So again, I can just pop that in here, that little stem, and this is the one that's going to be going over the actual petals. That needs to come to there. And then I can put all my leaves in. I think this is where a tremor helps, because I have trouble getting the right straight lines. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to rub that out, or erase it. So just quickly erase it. And you can use a makeup brush to get rid of your little rubbery bits that come off it. Then we just put the detail in again. And again, I'm going to go down to the 0.1 on this, because the lines on these tend to be a little bit more delicate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going, first of all, put a load of lines in here. And then I'm going to, again, look at which way these flowers are going and put them in as well. Now, you don't have to put these lines in, or you can use a lot less if you want to. I like them. It's my style to have a lot more of these kind of lines in the way that I feel that the actual petal is growing. And it's about finding your own style when you do these things as well. Now, when you're doing the ones that are on the outside, think about where that middle of that flower petal is, and then just go from there. And there is no wrong way to do this. Do you know what I mean? It's your drawing. No one has to criticise it. No one's got the right to criticise it. No one. It's your drawing and you do it how you want to do it. See, I've put quite a lot of lines in that one, and yet it doesn't look bad. And I do mess it up sometimes, that I think, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. But I go with it. Because life's too short. And then again, I will do the same thing with these ones. I'll just decide which way I feel the leaf is naturally growing. I'll do some random lines, and then I'll do some from the top. Now, I'm going to speed this bit up, because if not, you'll be here all day. And then in the leaves, I'm going to use the thinner pen again, because actually I want these leaves just to have lines in before I colour them. It's not exactly the same. I've made these ones bigger than these ones, but I don't mind. But I've used this as a reference, and I've now got a good example or copy over here, and now it's about colouring them in. So I've chosen my colours for my poppies, and I've just got these really cheap double-headed coloured pens that have got like a brush nib on them. Now the best pens that you could use for these, I think, are Copics, but unfortunately I can't afford to buy a bigger set of Copics other than this set here, and it doesn't have the range of colours that I want because they're very expensive, but they are brilliant pens and they're great for blending. So if Copic are watching, I'd love you to send me a set, and then I'll demonstrate them and talk about them more. Or if you'd like to buy me a copy to help me buy some, then please feel free, the link's in the description below. And I have to keep all my greens separate as well, because I'm colourblind. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. And if I don't keep them separate, there's no way I can identify them from the other colours that I have. So how I colour them in is quite easy, really. I take what I think is the darkest of the colours first, and I think about where I'm going to have dark parts on the leaves. Now, I'm not very good with thinking about shadows and things, so I kind of put it in roughly. I know that that leaf is overlapping there, so it's going to be slightly darker, and there, and there, and it is there, and it is under there a little bit. Around here, certainly where those leaves are overlapping those ones, or petals, not leaves. Again here, that bit there is going to be darker. That bit there, because there's a shadow coming off that one, and there, and there. And I just do a real jiggle bit of dark around those. And I'm sure there's plenty of artists who are watching this thinking, oh my gosh, he's doing that completely wrong. But everything I've done, I'm all self-taught, and like I said at the beginning, I can't draw, but I'm always happy with what I get coming out at the end. And then I just pop a few bits in, a few lines in, just to give it a bit of interest. And there we go. And you don't have to do this. You can use watercolours or acrylic paints if you want to, but I like using these markers. And then what I'll do is I'll get a lighter colour. So I've got this one here, which is like a pink, I suppose, and then I just blend those in. I go over it, with the lighter colour, and I just blend those darker marks in. And this is a lighter one than what I drew before. I used a slightly darker red, so I'm just going to go in over all these leaves. And I'm never bothered about keeping within the lines. Again, that's kind of my style a little bit as well. I don't mind going out the lines. It used to bother me, but with my tremor, I just think, nah, can't be bothered anymore. I still like what I've got. So again, I do follow the way that the leaf's going. I don't know why, I think that's habit. And it's not a bad habit to get into, I don't suppose. And now I'm going to go in with this slightly darker red and then just go over that as well. And let that dry out. And then you'll see it kind of coming to life. Now, if you feel your centre, like I think I've got maybe a bit too much white showing in that centre there. So I will probably put a few more dark lines using my marker pen on that to darken that off again. But I won't colour it in, I'll just go over it with some darker lines again. And so this one I'm going to make a little bit darker. I'm going to try and pick my darkest red, which I think is that one, but I might be mistaken. And again, I'm just going to go over them where I think it's going to be darker because those petals are creating a shadow. Putting some random lines in. And then I'm going to go over it again. And I think this one might have been darker actually, but that's fine. I don't mind. Happy little accident probably. Oh, I sound like Bob Ross. And with these pens I've found as well that the more times you go over it, the darker it actually does it. The colour that you're putting down. Right, and I've got some little white bits in there, so I'm just going to go in there with a slightly whiter pen, lighter pen. I'll just give it a bit more depth. I'm going to go ahead and do that one, and then I'll come back when I'm coming on to the stems. So with the stems, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in the light first and see how that looks. Okay, so I quite like that, but I am going to pop in a few bits of the darker colour, and I'm rather than using the brush tip for this, I'm using, because these come with little points as well on the tips, I'm just going in with this to give that a darker feel. And then I'm going to do the same with the leaves. And you can be a lot more careful than I am, but I have to live with this tremor all the time. So, and if I let it, I wouldn't do anything. And I can't do that. So there we go, that's that done. And now what I'm going to do is do the yellows, and that'll do me. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing with these ones as I did with the poppy, and I will speed this up again. So, there we go. That's how I draw all my flowers, doing it exactly like that. Exactly the same for the dahlia or the dahlia. I draw a circle, then another circle, then another circle, then another circle, and then do my leaves out to them. The same for the carnations that I've drawn, and the same for the daffodils. And if you'd like me to show you how I do draw these other flowers and do another tutorial on this, then please let me know. Now, this channel isn't going to be all about tutorials, as you know. This channel is also going to be about me trying out new crafts, and I've got a few new things that I'm going to be trying coming up very soon. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed showing you my technique. Don't forget, it is really easy, and these are the results that you can get. And you've got a simple flower there and one that's a little bit more complex to do. Don't be afraid to try it. Even if it doesn't work out for you the first time, I'm sure that you'll be really pleased with what you end up with, because I left it months and months and months before I thought, I'm going to have a go at this. I'm so pleased I did. I sit there at night, I sketch flowers, and I do all sorts of things. Look at me waving my hands around. I'm going to take off like a helicopter soon. So, thank you very much indeed. Hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I've got lots planned and lots coming out very, very soon. Hit the notification bell so you also get notified. And if you'd like to say thank you and buy me a coffee, then please check out the link below. I'll also link the video on how to turn these into stickers. Take care, enjoy your crafting, bye.